Hi, my name is Veronica, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation. How did that one do?
That was very good. Do just maybe one or two more, okay? Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Man, oh man, it is crazy how constantly things change in the sport of boxing. There was a time where Errol Spence, he was the boogeyman in the welterweight division. And then Terence Crawford, he took that title of being the boogeyman. Now, almost everyone that Terence Crawford was chasing before, they've turned around and started to run after Terence Crawford. Shawn Porter is putting a lot of pressure on Terence Crawford to take the fight. For those of you guys who don't know, Shawn Porter is now Terence Crawford's WBO mandatory. He's also Errol Spence's mandatory, assuming Errol Spence gets past Danny Garcia. But by the way Shawn Porter is talking about Terence Crawford, I think he wants the Crawford fight more than the Errol Spence fight. Now, one of Terence Crawford's very close team members and friends, he actually did an interview with my man Ike, and he said in that interview that Terence Crawford said if Shawn Porter wants it, all he has to do is enforce his mandatory position, and he will get the fight. So Shawn Porter already came out and said he already is the mandatory. Matter of fact, let me quote exactly what Shawn said. Quote, "I'm the mandatory for the WBO title with Terence Crawford, and I'm the mandatory for the WBC title for Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. I definitely think the fight can happen. He's in a situation where there's nowhere for him to turn. He's not going to get the Manny Pacquiao fight, and he's not going to get the Errol Spence fight. I think he'll definitely turn my way after the last conversation we had. Terence told me I'm working on something big, and if this didn't work out, we could talk about a fight, but I've got something I'm going for. I respected that coming from him. But if he's in a situation wanting something big, and that doesn't come through, I definitely see him wanting to get in the ring. I don't think it's just our friendship preventing him from getting in the ring," end quote. Boy, that was a huge statement when Shawn Porter said, "I don't think it's just our friendship that's stopping Terence Crawford from getting in the ring with me." Shawn Porter, he made a lot of sense. He made a lot of great points. According to Shawn Porter, once again, he said he talked to Terence Crawford, and Terence told him, "I'm working on something big." We already know what that means. That means he was working on the Manny Pacquiao fight. And if he doesn't get the Manny Pacquiao fight next, it would make all the sense in the world for him to face his new mandatory, Shawn Porter. It makes too much sense, because if Terence Crawford goes in there, now there's no guarantee he'll beat Shawn Porter, but let's say he was able to beat Shawn Porter. If he can beat Shawn Porter, especially if he can beat him in a more impressive fashion than Errol Spence, that gives him leverage going into negotiations with Errol Spence. But if he's not fighting a Keith Thurman or a Terence Crawford, then it makes it easier for Errol Spence to continue to tell him it has to be a 60-40 split in my favor. Terence Crawford needs a Shawn Porter just as bad as Porter needs a Terence Crawford fight. You know, the same thing applies for Shawn Porter. If he were to beat Terence Crawford, he instantly becomes the man, because he ends up becoming the first person to beat Terence Crawford. Not only that, but he got in there and beat Terence Crawford before Errol Spence could beat him. So that would be a hell of a statement. So they need each other if you think about it. But things have really gotten interesting now that Shawn Porter is Terence Crawford's mandatory, because I know for a fact Terence Crawford is not going to pull a Canelo or a Golovkin and vacate his belt. I know he's not going to do that. So if Crawford is not fighting Errol Spence or Manny Pacquiao next, I would be extremely shocked if he doesn't fight his mandatory, Shawn Porter. Let's see what Crawford decides to do. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So if you want to get this hookup for my brothers out there in the UK and Europe, make sure you check out the Crawford'S on Instagram. And for my brothers out there in the States, make sure you go ahead and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. What's going on, guys? You know, I've always wanted to find a second source of income. And I've always wanted to learn about stocks and trades because I've heard so much good stuff about it. So I finally found a way to do it. And now I'm learning from 6, 7, 8-figure traders. So not only am I learning from them, but the most important thing is I get to copy their trade. So I get to earn while I learn. Now, if you want the full details, click on the link below so you can learn while you copy and paste their trades. And just understand this, guys. Just by watching the video, you're doing a great job of supporting my channel, and I appreciate it. And the craziest thing about doing this trading is you can do it anywhere. All you need is an internet connection, and you can do it just with your phone. So if you want to learn how to make a second income alongside me without having to pitch, sell, or recruit, go ahead and click on the link below, and I'll see you inside.